Tonight, he is in the Twitter trends as he initiates moves to retrieve the excess monies paid to businessman Sheikh Al Maktoum, who acted as middleman in the procurement of 300,000 Sputnik V vaccines for Ghana.
I want citizens to join me so that we will present a joint petition to Parliament so that he'll be tried for the perjury in Parliament. Okay, because under the Constitution, if somebody obstructs justice in Parliament, he has to face the law.
We have more as calls for the resignation or removal of Kobnamin Tetteh as Health Minister intensifies. Also tonight, police in Accra declare war on criminals terrorizing residents of Accra, vowing to clamp down on all forms of attacks on residents.
Yeah, the two robbers were sitting here. One was over here and one was here. And there was one CID man sitting in between them. Yeah. But they didn't know he was a CID man. They didn't know, so they were waiting for a car.
We have voices from Shashi where 3 suspected robbers were gunned down Monday afternoon. Also here on Joy News Prime, Senior Staff Association of Universities of Ghana call off their strike after intervention from government. Meanwhile, Utah continues in defiance of a court order for them to return to work as the strike enters the 8th day.
How long do you intend to continue with this strike?
Indefinitely. I just asked the workers to call off the strike. Why are they in court?
In business, importers and exporters at Tema Port raise alarm over what they say is unfair treatment of the major shipping line there.
There was another bill of lading that is consigned to Nigeria. The port of discharge is Tinkana, Papa. That's Nigeria. And they have given that invoice to me to pay. How possible?
But is it your group?
It's not my consignee. I'm not the consignee.
This is Joy News Prime coming to you live from our studios here at Kobnamin in Accra. We're on your digital terrestrial TV because you are free to air. We're on DSTV channel 421, Go TV 144, and we're streaming live on all our social media platforms. Please stay with us for details. Many thanks for joining us wherever you are. Tonight, he is in the Twitter trends. The Health Minister, Kobnamin Tetteh, has initiated moves to retrieve the excess money that was paid to businessman Sheikh Al Maktoum, who acted as middleman in the procurement of 300,000 Sputnik V vaccines for the country. The ad hoc parliamentary committee that probed this controversial procurement established that more than 16 million Ghana cedis was paid to the businessman, that's representing 50% of the total contract sum. This despite the fact that he failed to deliver the exact amount of doses expected per the contract. The committee then recommended that the finance minister take steps to retrieve the money. But Joy News has cited a letter written by the Minister of Health demanding a refund from Sheikh Al Maktoum. Head of our health desk, Fred Smith, joins us via Zoom with details of this letter. Fred, first of all, when is this letter dated? Hello, Fred, if you can hear me, first tell us when this letter is dated and what the details are, as the finance minister, we understand, has taken steps to retrieve the monies from Sheikh Al Maktoum. And so even as Fred unmutes his device, we'll get you the latest on this because there have been some more calls for the health minister to resign. And Kobnamin Tetteh is the ranking member on the health committee in Parliament. He joins us also via phone. Mr. Kando, thank you very much for your time here on Joy News Prime. First of all, you recommended the retrieval of the monies, albeit by the finance minister. The health minister today has moved in that regard to retrieve the money. Your reaction to that?
Well, I must be very careful commenting on such issues, not until I have clear evidence to that effect. I have not seen any letter to that effect. So I'll be very careful because this is the same person who appeared before the committee and told us that no money has been paid, and subsequently we found out that whooping sum of 16.330640 had been paid. And so for me, I'll be very careful to comment on such issues.
Very well. We trust our sources on this, but assuming, and you can proceed safely with this assumption, that indeed this letter was written by the health minister, would you say this should suffice as far as the recommendations you gave is concerned?
There are a lot. I think this should be the first phase of it. The state must get the money back. That should be the first phase of it. But let me try to create an analogy to the effect that if, excuse my language, a thief steals something and he brings it back, that doesn't mean he didn't steal. That doesn't mean there are a lot more questions to be answered, especially with regard to the minister responsible for finance. We had established that the contract didn't go through Parliament, so Article 1815 of the Constitution was not fulfilled. Procurement breaches and a lot more procurement breaches and a lot more breaches were established. So, upon what basis did the minister responsible for finance pay that particular amount of money? Because the minister also clearly admitted that the contract didn't go through cabinet. So there are a lot more questions to be answered. I must be very honest with you.
And I want you to hold the line for me, Mr. Kando. Let us go back to the details of the letter as we have it. The head of our health desk, Fred Smith, joins us via Zoom. We can proceed with that after. Fred, what are the details of this letter? Well, we seem not to have Fred. Fred, if you can unmute your device. Well, Fred, tell us what the details are. We know the health minister has written to Sheikh Al Maktoum. He is demanding a refund. Does he state, for instance, specifically how much he's expecting him to refund to him or to the government of Ghana?
Well, thank you, Ernest. It's dated the 2nd of August 2021, and it's addressed to His Highness Sheikh Ahmed Damok Al Maktoum. He's a member of the ruling family of Dubai in the United Arab Emirates, and it's titled Refund to the Government of Ghana of the balance of payment for 300,000 doses of Sputnik V vaccines, and which was supplied. And it reads, I wish to formally accept your termination of our agreement dated the 9th of March 2021 for the supply of Sputnik V vaccine as per your letter number, and it quotes the letter number dated the 14th of July 2021. By this letter, I also wish to formally request for the refund of the remaining amount for the non-supplied doses, which should be the total amount paid to your office minus the amount due for 20,000 doses you already supplied, in line with your earlier email dated the 25th of July 2021, Ernest, and in which it was affirmed that on the 13th of April 2021, funds were transferred into your account as 50% advance for the initial batch of 300,000 doses. Now, this request for refund is in line with clause 8.2 of the agreement, which states that any termination of this agreement which shall be by notice in writing to the other party shall not affect any rights, remedies, obligations, or liabilities of the parties that have accrued up to the date of the termination. It would be very much appreciated if the amount is transferred back into the sending bank account as per the earlier SWIFT advice dated the 9th of April 2021. You may contact and give details of who to contact in case there are issues with the transfer. And this is signed by Kweku Ajimamen, the Minister for Health himself.
And so that is head of our health desk, Fred Smith. It was important to bring you details of that letter, so we put the conversation in context. We still have the ranking member of the Health Committee, Kobnamin Tetteh, with us on the phone. You mentioned earlier that the Finance Minister indeed has some questions to answer. Why did the committee not find it prudent at the time you were probing this matter to invite him to answer some questions on the role he played?
Let me put it on record, and for your information, at that time, the committee, in fact, myself, raised the issue of inviting the minister responsible for finance to appear before the committee, and the chairman ruled that instead of inviting the minister, the committee will write to the minister and outline the issues we want him to respond for him to respond. And we wrote to the minister, and the minister also brought his response. So it's not as though we didn't demand anything from the minister responsible for finance. So that is the truth of the matter. Again, the letter you have read is problematic. There are a lot more questions about that. You see, When you proceed on the assumption that the agreement is valid, the contract is valid, that is why you say they should do some deductions and refund some amount of money. But we have a lot of precedents, rulings from Supreme Court that indicate clearly that when an international contract doesn't get parliamentary approval, it is declared null and void, and it's as though that contract has never been executed. In that case, we don't pay anything.
And so your suggestion is that the full amount should be refunded to the state?
So I'm saying that there are a lot of questions around even the letter you are reading. This knee-jerk reaction would not suffice. So for me, let's take our time and unravel the issue one after the other.
But I just want clarity on that. Are you saying that based on the premise you have given us, that the contract in itself is not valid, the health minister will therefore have to refund all the monies involved to the state?
It's a possibility.
What do you intend to do when Parliament resumes on this issue?
I intend to follow this issue to its logical conclusion and ensure that the state is not shortchanged.
Thank you very much. That's the ranking member on the Health Committee of Parliament, Kobnamin Tetteh, joining us on this controversial Sputnik V vaccine procurement. The health minister has taken steps to retrieve the monies. We'll be following this closely. But there are growing calls for the minister to resign or be removed by the president. Martin Pebu is a private legal practitioner.
Mr. Ajimamenu is now embarrassing us as a country. It's as if he's our best talent for that job. But we all know he's not. You see, that's why maybe it appears he doesn't understand public service. Look, there are 1,001 citizens who can perform that job. The president chose him, but he has taken us down a path that has embarrassed us so much. So he just has to go quietly. But you see that he's digging in his heels. And then you have some of our citizens holding press conferences to support him. It cannot be supported. Let's come to this. Samson, you see, the last time we raised this, we mentioned that, look, money must have been paid because even the agreement for the procurement of the vaccine, clause 4.2, itself says that we're to pay for the vaccine with a site LC. Samson, it says site LC.
Right.
From the little understanding, this site LC means when the goods have been delivered, sometimes even not delivered, it's possible for the person to be paid. That's the exporter, the person who supplied, depending on how the contract is worded. But bottom line is that whether the contractor or the exporter should be paid because the goods have left the country of export, or even in Ghana, once you say site LC, it has certain meanings, okay, that certain documents will be presented. So the argument I'm making is that even without this payment that has first come out, the contract that he signed means that payment was to be made soon after the latest, soon after the 20,000 vaccines were delivered. So on what basis could the minister go to Parliament to say that nothing is being paid? Is Al Maktoum Father Christmas? Is Al Maktoum Father Christmas that he'll give you vaccines, 20,000, and not receive payment? So you see that this thing that he hasn't paid, that's why I believe we have to press the issue of perjury very hard because Ajimamenu is not leaving, and so we have to make the law bite. And in this direction, I'm thinking that I want citizens to join me so that we will present a joint petition to Parliament so that he'll be tried for the perjury in Parliament, okay? Because under the Constitution, if somebody obstructs justice in Parliament, he has to face the law.
Well, the latest to add their voice to the calls for the health minister to resign is Occupy Ghana. They've issued a statement. My colleague Ashanti joins me via Zoom with details of that statement. First of all, Occupy Ghana expresses shock at the revelations of the committee and also the testimony by the minister himself. Tell us more.
All right. So Occupy Ghana says they are struck that although payments were made under the transaction, the minister said he did not know about it. And then when he testified before the Parliament committee, he was oblivious of a report and a letter that had been sent from the Ministry of Finance affecting payment from the BOG account of the Health Ministry. They say, and I quote, "It is unbelievable that at each of these stages of payment requests, the accompanying supporting document did not include the approvals of the mentioned above. It beggars belief that the Ministry of Health, Ministry of Finance, Controller and Accountant General, and the Bank of Ghana will pay out government monies without seeing or demanding to see any of the stated approvals. It is on the basis of the foregoing that we demand that the Health Minister resign from office, even if he meant well under emergency circumstances. Those did not justify bypassing our constitutional statutory processes. If the Health Minister does not resign on his own accord, then we call on the President to relieve him of his post."
But that's not all, Kweku. Beyond the calling on the Minister to resign or the President to remove him, they're also asking for a widening of the scope of the probe to cover other government officials who may have played a role in this.
Right, and so according to this Occupy Ghana statement, they believe that there may be a lot more people who are involved in this web of issues that have come up with the Sputnik V. And let me quote again from the statement. They say, "While calling for this resignation, we also believe that the Ghanaians ought to be told which other officials were involved in processing and paying the monies without demanding and seeing the requisite approvals. Those officials ought to be similarly sanctioned. Also, Ghanaians should be told when we expect to receive a full refund of the outstanding amount from the recipient." So they go on to make a lot of legal arguments, which they say buttress their point that the minister had breached a lot of laws and a lot of regulations, for which reasons he must resign, and a number of other people who are involved in all this deal must also be sanctioned and prosecuted.
Ashanti is my colleague who joins us with details of that statement by Occupy Ghana. Let's go to Twitter now and check out the trends. I told you the Health Minister is trending #1 with the hashtag Agyemang must go. We'll bring you some of the comments that you have been making on Twitter on this latest development, which is the fact that the Health Minister has written to Sheikh Al Maktoum. And so the Ministry of Health, this is hashtag JM Marvelous. The Ministry of Health did not seek approval from the Board of PPA under Sections 40 and 41 of Act 663 before signing the agreement. Hashtag Agyemang must go. This one also says, whether refund or not, hashtag Agyemang must go. And another one here says, 16 million Ghana cedis is not a small money. Wate. Hashtag Agyemang must go and be prosecuted. So that's another aspect of the conversation. For me, the conversation shouldn't just be about hashtag Agyemang must go. We should be asking for prosecution as well. If we can prosecute former officials for reckless conduct in respect of our finances, then same should apply here. And so Dalton also writes and says, a whole trend, I need a brief on this issue. Hashtag Agyemang must go. The Democrat says there's no other reasonable explanation to the minister's ill-motivated procurement of vaccines than theft, loot, and share. Hashtag Agyemang must go. One more here, Big Daddy C. Hashtag Agyemang must go. Over $2.850 million vaccines money is missing again under this NPP government. How can a whole health minister lie to Ghanaians? Please, Akufo-Addo, enough is enough. Bring back your share of the vaccine. Well, we cannot proceed with those allegations, but that is what some of you have been saying. The conversation is on social media, and of course, we will follow through to see what happens. Now, let's do some news on COVID-19. From Tuesday, you could face arrests and possible fine or prosecution if you fail to observe the COVID-19 protocols here in the capital, Accra. The region has emerged as the major hotspot as the third wave of infections, followed by the deadly Delta variant, spread across some parts of the country. Let's take a look at the statistics now as it is looking. And so we have 108,226. That's the total number of confirmed cases. Recovery, 100,383. The active cases, these are people with COVID-19 as we speak, 6,969. 874 deaths. That is huge. And severe cases, 87. Critical cases, 36. And so you must be aware COVID-19 is still alive. And that is the, the breakdown for you in terms of the vaccines. Total vaccine doses, 1,271,393. For the first dose only, 865,422. And first and second doses, 405,971. And so these are the figures for people who have been vaccinated. We know that we have received more vaccines, which is Johnson & Johnson, and that will be rolled out shortly. So in the figures you just saw, the Greater Accra region has the highest number of infections rate, followed by the Ashanti region. And to ensure adherence to the COVID-19 protocols here in the capital, the Regional Security Council and the Regional Public Health Emergency Management Committee, in collaboration with the Regional Police Command and also the Regional Health Directorate of the Ghana Health Service, have given a number of directives. And it's one of the first directives says there should be mandatory adherence to all COVID-19 safety protocols at all events, at all times, and in any public place and space in the region. B, all security councils in the various assemblies should embark on routine checks at public places, that is schools, lorry stations, markets, especially in churches, to ensure that there is strict compliance. If you're boarding your church, you should know that you must be in your marks. All metropolitan, municipal, and district assemblies should collaborate with their respective police commanders and other security apparatus in ensuring that all activities associated with funerals are held in open-air spaces, and it should not exceed a duration of 2 hours. D says all metropolitan, municipal, and district assemblies should, with immediate effect, reactivate their district police health emergency management committees in the fight against the pandemic. And E, all metropolitan, municipal, and district assemblies should, as a matter of urgency, start their sensitization programs on COVID-19 and its safety protocols as a wake-up call for all. F, MMDAs should also ensure that individuals or group of persons who breach these protocols are arrested, fined, or prosecuted according to the law to serve as a deterrent to others. The Regional Coordinating Council would continue to play its supervisory role with random spot checks on all these public bans. And so notice has been served. You make sure. It says, however, we appeal to our revered traditional political, religious, and opinion leaders to be at the forefront of this drive and campaign in order to curtail the steep increases of COVID-19 cases in the region. You're watching Joy News Prime with me, Ernest Meno. Still to come, police in Accra declare war on criminals terrorizing residents of Accra, vowing to clamp down on all forms of attacks on residents. We have voices from Shiashi, where 3 suspected robbers were gunned down Monday afternoon.
Yeah, the 2 robbers were sitting here. One was over here and one was here. And there was one CID man sitting in between them. Yeah. But they didn't know he was a CID man. They didn't know. So they were waiting for a car.
Police took charge of the situation and they lost their lives. Some were also using motorbikes. Others were also monitoring. And the police, since it's an intelligence-led operations, the police had grip over the situation.
And in business, importers and exporters at the Tema port raise alarm over what they say is unfair treatment by a major shipping line there.
There was another bill of lading that is consigned to Nigeria. The port of discharge is Tinkan, Apapa. That's Nigeria. And they have given that invoice to me to pay. How possible?
But is it your good?
It's not my consignee. I'm not the consignee.
Hello there, welcome to Business. I'm Charles Aite. Importers and exporters at the Tema Port fear Ghana could be losing its business-friendly status as a result of unfair treatment from one of the major shipping lines, Maersk, for some weeks now. According to them, the shipping line has blocked businesses of more than 100 shipping agents, denying them access to clear their goods. The situation has triggered losses due to demurrage and rent charges from the Port Authority. Management of the Ghana Institute of Freight Forwarders and the Ghana Shippers Authority have been notified about this development, but all efforts to get it resolved have proven unsuccessful. Here's some affected importers speaking about the adverse effects of the situation.
They block you, the freight forwarder. It means that all other clients, about 10 other clients that you have, that you will be working for, whose goods are coming through Maersk line, can't clear the goods. It also means that at times they even go ahead and even block the importers. And they wait till you even give your goods to an agent in America, for example, goes through the process, they load the container. Now they tell you, hold on, even though we have loaded the container, you can't transport it to Tema for you. Because it's far away in Tema, there is an amount which is standing against your name. Then you are forced to pay. You have instances of some of my clients even decided that, oh, go ahead and pay, and we don't want any problem, because look at the money that you are losing. And in this case, Maersk line is holding them to ransom. It's pure blackmailing.
There was another bill of lading that is consigned to Nigeria. The port of discharge is Tinkana, Papa. That's Nigeria. And they have given that invoice to me to pay. How possible?
But is it your group?
It's not my consignee. I'm not the consignee. I don't know the consignee. I don't know how it came into my data as a debt to me. And Maersk line is asking me to pay for it. How does that make sense?
Have you checked up with them? Have you communicated with them? How come this product is?
When I checked up with them, they evidently admitted that that's a clear error on their part. So the question is, how do you blame me for your ineptitude, your inefficiencies, your incompetence? You blame me and you block me. As a result, people are shipping through my company, and we are telling them in US and other part of the world that on-time shipping services owes you money, and as a result, you can't accept their containers. And you are denying me of my daily bread.
So after admitting, have they unblocked you?
They have not.
And yet you go ahead. You say this person owes you money. Deal with the guy here. All right? You send a guy an invoice, false invoices. Some of them there is no explanation. There is no explanation notes as to why he owes you money. You send somebody an invoice to tell the person he owes you money in 2009. You don't attach the invoice. You don't attach the copy BLs. People have come with documentary proof to tell that, look, I don't even owe you money, and they have still been blocked. Maersk doesn't stop there. Maersk goes to these agents, their clients abroad, and tell them that these guys have been blacklisted, so don't use them. Today, boxes are stuck in the port. The port is choked because of the activity of Maersk line. And what is the crime of these agents? What is the crime of the client?
Well, meanwhile, Joy Business has gathered that the Ghana Shippers Authority is meeting with the freight forwarders and some stakeholders of the ports to get the issue resolved. And the shipping line in question, Maersk, has also assured Joy Business that the team is working around the clock to resolve the matter as soon as possible. But away from that, the maiden commercial tanker vessel, the GH Parks, has arrived to discharge cargo at West Africa's deepest and new ultra-modern liquid bulk terminal at the port of Takoradi. Now, this cargo operation signals the formal commencement of commercial operations at the new state-of-the-art terminal. Correspondent in Athalia has more.
The vessel, which arrived at the port's anchorage, went through screening as well as regulatory sampling and clearance by the National Petroleum Authority. Public Relations Manager for the Takoradi Port, Peter Bediako, says, as part of regulatory requirements and industry best practice, the arrival of the vessel was preceded by the arrival of the lease tanker vessel for technical testing operation.
The new liquid bulk jetty has a capacity of 300 meters with a 14-meter depth. In comparison to the old port, which had a berth length of 120 with a depth of 8.4 on high water, could not have received this vessel. This vessel, no way could have gone to the old vessel. Not only does it give us the leverage to handle bigger vessels and bigger volumes, but it also has effect on the revenue of GPHA. So for us, today is a very happy day for us. When it comes to competitiveness, it has got to be the turnaround time.
Branch manager for Inchap Shipping Services, Chris Donko, lauded the government for putting up the facility and deemed it timely, as it was time that COVID-19 restrictions, which hampered the operation of the port, were being eased.
I must say it's fantastic. It's indeed fantastic and timely. Because, of course, the COVID created a whole lot of issues. So if after, going through all this process and then charters are bringing vessels for vessels to stay longer in port, definitely is going to affect them. So we are so fortunate, BP, they are the time charters of this very vessel. Her last port, of course, is Lome. Let me say here that comparing the old jetty and then the new will serve very, 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 very great purpose.
Deputy Operations Manager of Marshall Oil and Gas Services, Stephen Nana Ando, says his outfit is the terminal's operator and responsible for the safety and operation duties of the facility.
GPHA gave us this concession to build this new facility, which is an improvement on the old one in terms of the datas. If I mention details, we are talking about the size of this particular new facility. In terms of the depth, initially, the old site, it was around -7 meters. But here we've improved it into -14 meters. It means that we are ready to receive a bigger vessel compared to what we are receiving at the old site. The length, we have also increased the length to 303 meters compared to the one that we are doing at the old jetty, which is around 150 meters. And then in terms of the safety and then the maintenance, we have improved the safety aspect of this particular facility.
For Joy Business in Athalia, Kwanza, Western Region.
And that'll be all for business. Sport is up next. Just stay.
Many thanks for staying with us. Time to bring you sports. My name is Hans Mensah, and the former France international Marcel Desailly has been explaining why he never accepted the Black Stars coaching job after being approached on 2 occasions by the Ghana Football Association. According to him, the structural system of the Ghana FA at the time was one he was not pleased with. There is more in the following report.
Speaking exclusively on Joy Sports Link, the 1998 World Cup winner with France said his refusal to accept the coaching role of the Black Stars can be attributed to a number of factors, which includes the construction of the Lizzie Sports Complex at the time and his desire to have his coaching badges.
Not going to happen anymore. My time have passed. Okay. I really had the opportunity with Kwesi Nantechi at the time. But like I said, I was building up, the Lizzie Sports and having, a real desire to have my coaching badges at the same time. It was a little bit too early. The timing was not good. The generation was good at the time when they proposed to me to take the job. And when they came a second time, I also identified the generation that we were having down for me to be able to perform. Okay. On top of the problem that I was having with the administration. At the time, Kwesi was doing okay after, he fell on making mistakes.
He also added that the structural system of the Ghana Football Association was very complicated, as it came with so many interferences, and that was something he was not ready to entertain.
It's quite complicated, the structure of the FA, the board, all the people who come and interfere. I'm somebody quite strict, and a little bit organized. So you cannot really fool around with me. Once you give me the position, I will tell you one example. If the sports minister wants to enter my dressing room before the match, I will block him. Because he has nothing to do in my dressing room. To tell what to my players? Come on, guys, we are counting on you. It's not possible. You cannot come. You stay in your position and I deliver. If I don't deliver, you sack me. So it's something on ego that we have in the system that is very difficult to change. When the board is telling me we are not going to spend for the players to have a 3-star hotel at least with the air condition inside before a crucial game, I don't accept it. It's little addition of details that makes me think that, oh, Marcel, the tools are not there. I have my own expertise and my motivation. I don't know if it will work. But the tools that they are giving me to try and go and perform on ground is not enough. So this is also one of the reasons why the system is still a little bit too complicated.
Marcel Desailly was approached to manage the senior national team in 2009 and 2014.
Well, sprinter Benjamin Azamati has promised to bounce back stronger after a relatively average individual performance at the Olympic Games. Azamati failed to make it to the men's 100-meter semi-finals after finishing fourth with a time of 10.13 seconds. The 23-year-old spoke to my colleague George Addo Jr. and revealed he was not in the best of shapes for the race. There's certainly more sports at myjoyonline.com/sports. My name is Hans Mensah, and that'll be all for now.
And definitely, you know, once that montage plays, it means Becky is here with the latest in the world of showbiz. Hello, Becky.
Hello to you.
It's a Monday, and
yes.
What do you have for us in showbiz?
Of course, we have Tahala Experience, which
it happened yesterday.
Yeah, last night at the ICGC Kauri Temple on the Spintex Road. It was massive. I have a report here for you.
Beyond the Veil is the theme for this year's Tahala Experience, organized by gospel musician Ohima Mercy. With a spirit-filled atmosphere, artists give patrons performances that released all the anointing and blessings behind the veil. Sisi Chum, MOG, Phil Thompson, Francis Samuel, Obapa Chrissy and others were at hand to make sure God was given the ultimate praise and worship. Here is how some patrons I spoke to describe the 7th edition of Tahala Experience.
I think that people have missed God. God has missed our fellowship like this, and we have really proving that we love, God's presence and some of these things. So I trust that a year by this time, probably the stadium will be the best option, like Ohima herself said.
I've been on it on the 7th year, and today is too different because I saw when Mommy was coming on stage, it was raining, and I've never seen some before, which means the Lord hand on this 2021 Tahala Experience.
Oh, God has done so very well, and I have experienced much. What I say, it's
been amazing in Sansom. I saw the advert and I'm in Ghana. I've worked with Ohima Mercy. When I started my Praise the Lord Gospel Concert, she was one of the artists. So I said, let me come and support, and it's been blessed. I think all the doors will open for me now.
I mean, it's amazing. The people, it's obvious everybody here loves Ohima Mercy, and they're here to support her, show her love. And I mean, buy from her ministry, her anointing, the gift that God has given her. I mean, she's an asset to the country Ghana and the continent of Africa at large. So we thank God.
Ohima Mercy is the organizer of this annual event. She tells Joy News the event, hopefully next year, will be moved to the stadium due to the constant overflow of patrons.
It's been massive. It's been amazing, awesome. The presence of God was so amazing, and you could see that people are going home so much fulfilled. And I thank God for 2021 edition of Tahala Experience.
It to the stadium next year. Finally, you've decided.
Yes, we have really decided that we are moving to the stadium because we realized that people even were coming, trooping in, but because the whole place was full, some of them have to go back. So we're thinking of gathering everyone at the stadium, and we're working on it seriously.
Rebecca Dako Cheneboa for Joy News.
Who is that?
That's my name.
Rebecca what? Dako Cheneboa.
Yes, please. Thank you very much.
All right, Bex. So what do you have?
So meanwhile, Ohima Messi is set to release a book. Before I go, Wizkid, Wizkid Made in Lagos concert, which is set to happen in the UK, has been sold out. Yes, sold out ahead of his Made in Ghana. Made in Lagos concert. So the tickets for the one-off show happening on November 28 in the 20,000 capacity venue ran out in a record of 12 minutes after the sales went live. So
that's interesting.
Yeah.
20,000 in 12 minutes.
Hopefully something.
I see. Thank you very much, Becky, for the latest in showbiz. If you're watching us on Joy Prime, that's it. We're grateful for your company. If you're watching on Joy News, we have a lot more for you. Please stay. Some other stories now. The busy Accra-Medina road, specifically Shiashi, was the scene of gunfire as armed men allegedly engaged the police in a gunfight Monday morning, resulting in the death of 3 of the suspects. According to the police and eyewitnesses, the robbers had trailed a businessman who had come out of an airport bank, accosted him, and had attempted to steal his cash. A team of plainclothes and uniformed men foiled the alleged robbery, leading to the shooting and subsequent deaths. Mark Solaluba reports.
According to eyewitnesses, the 2 suspected armed men were sitting here waiting to be picked up by their colleagues. We are told that unknown to them, a plainclothes policeman was also here with them. Just when their colleague pulled up in a Toyota Corolla vehicle to pick them up from this bus stop, the plainclothes police officer, we are told, got up and they realized that he had a gun on him. We're told that a man who had a gun on them tried shooting the plainclothes police officer, but he was fast and shot them first. The first suspected armed robber, we are told, fell down here. His blood still splattered on the pavement covered with sand. The second armed man, we are told, tried escaping from the scene, but he was also shot by the plainclothes police officer. The eyewitnesses tell us that the third person also tried bolting from the scene, but he was also shot. We can now hear from some of the eyewitnesses.
2 robbers were sitting here. One was over here and one was here. And there was one CID man sitting in between them. Yeah. But they didn't know he was a CID man. They didn't know. So they were waiting for a car. I think it was one of their colleagues who was coming to pick them up. Yeah. When the car came, there was gun inside. Okay. So when the car came, the guy stood up going to where the car is. So the CID man too also stood up. Then they realized that the guy is a CID man having a pistol on him. Yeah. So they decided to pull a gun, and he also looked very smart and quick, and he shot them. Okay. I mean, before the other CID guys too came and rushed the other 2 guys and shot them. Okay. So they killed 3 guys. The robber tried pulling a gun to shoot him because he realized that this man is a CID man. Okay. So he shot him here. If you can see the blood here, he shot him here. He died right here. Yeah, he died right here. Okay. So the second guy was running away. Okay. Then he shot him where the bag is. Okay. He shot him there. Then there was another CID man. He rolled the third person and shot him there. Okay. And they arrested 2 guys. Okay. For them, they never had gun on them, so I thought that was the reason why they decided to arrest them.
I was at the back. I was eating at the chow bar. Then I heard a gunshot. Okay. Like 4 times. Okay. But then I was afraid to come out. So I decided to finish my food and come out. Okay. So as I came out, I saw a crowd gathered at the roadside. So I decided to go and check what is going on. Okay. When I got there, I saw 3 dead bodies. Okay. Now I was told they were suspected armed robbers being gunned down. Okay. Then the police chased the other group. So they got 2 additional suspected armed robbers. Okay. Then they were not dead. Then the police vehicle came around, so they took the body. Then the one that they arrested away.
According to police, this was the vehicle the men used for the robbery. Police officers from the Accra region police command tell us that they were able to retrieve a pistol, foreign currencies, and then ammunition from the men. Acting Director General of Public Affairs of the Ghana Police Service, ACP Kwesi Furi, has been giving us more details about the incident which happened on Monday morning.
The Accra Regional Police Command conducted a special intelligence-led operations that led to the death of 3 persons, namely Akika Christian Robert, one Al Hassan, a hitman, and one other Alaji, known as Alaji within the criminal realm. They targeted a businessman to rob him of his money after taking it from a bank near the airport. The police quickly moved into control over the situation. They decided to shoot at the police, and the police exchanged fire with them. Fortunately for the police, they had 3. 2 others were also arrested. Pistols were discovered on them. The pistols were fully loaded, meant to cause harm, death, and injury. As I speak to you, we've taken them to the police morgue for preservation, awaiting autopsy and report. Police would like to warn here that they are determined to get rid of street robberies. They are determined to get rid of bank robberies, residential robberies, as well as highway robberies throughout the country, and that those involved better stop or they will face the full wrath of the police.
Now, the strike of the University Teachers Association of Ghana, UTAG, has entered day 8 with no end in sight. The association says they will not return to work despite a court order directing them to resume work whilst continuing with negotiations with government. The association says it wants government to abide by a 2012 agreement to pay entry-level lecturers $2,084 per month on the single-spine salary structure. National Association of UTAG, the National Association of UTAG, that's the president, Professor Charles Marfel, says their strike is indefinite and they'll only return to the classroom when their demands are met.
We also go to court. I mean, that is why we are at court. I mean, once they file our position that the judgment should be set aside, I guess there will be no case. But if that is not the case, I mean, I'm sure they will advise us exactly what to do.
Prof. Marfel, how long do you intend to continue with this strike?
Indefinitely. The last time we met, we were told clearly that we are in a stalemate, so nothing is on the table. We said what is even on the table has been withdrawn. Am I lying? It's true. And so now if we say there's an opportunity for us to get back, we are also ready to come. I guess as they want us to call off the strike. Why are they in court? As a sign of good faith, maybe they should have also not gone to court and said, or why did you go into court and said that now that earlier on you said it was withdrawn anything, there is no more offer on the table. Now if it is not that case, then you should also not go to court and call us back to the table.
Meanwhile, after a meeting that was expected to come up today failed to materialize, Deputy Employment Minister Bright Rekubebe says government is willing to do whatever it takes to resolve the situation.
Like I always say, labor and government or the employer are more or less akin to matrimonial couples. It worries me a lot when we have to be in the public domain and arguing like this and talking like this, and even how far we have to come. There's opportunity for us to still talk. All government is saying is that let us call off this strike. Let's not use the students as bargaining chips. Let's allow them to go through what they are going through and then write their exam in the face of COVID. Parents are anxious. The government itself is anxious. So why can't we come back to the negotiating table and talk? Why can't we come back? We are ready. If they want to meet us tonight, we are ready. Then we meet and talk about the issues. In any case, if this strike should persist for God knows how long, we will still get back to the table and talk. With all due respect, my learned professors and lecturers, let us see that ultimately our children in these schools are all we have. If we take even about a month or two resolving the issue, government will always go back if we agree, even pay arrears. So why are we here? Our lecturers are saying that the fact that government has even gone to National Labour Commission is what is irritating them. They are also saying that we need to look at their salary readjustment and restore them. And that government's position is that is a no-go area because all of us are public workers and we all are on the single spine. So we cannot single them out at this point when we have had base pay negotiations done by Public Services Joint. And so we are appealing to them.
We now Senior Staff Association of Universities of Ghana have called off their strike after interventions from the government. In a statement released a while ago by the National Labour Commission, all senior staff members across the 16 public universities in Ghana were asked to resume work without further delay. The press release reads, I write on behalf of the National Executive Council of the Senior Staff Association, Universities of Ghana, and the Federation of University Senior Staff Association to suspend our industrial strike action, which was declared on August 2, 2021, with immediate effect. This follows the National Labour Commission's ruling on August 6, 2021, and various interventions made by the Honourable Minister of Education, Honourable Minister of Employment and Labour Relations, and the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission on behalf of government, culminating in a roadmap that serves as a guide to ensure sincere and fairness in a speedy resolution of all the impasse between us and government. We will continue to engage faithfully with government and other relevant stakeholders in our fight for justice, fairness, equity in the salaries and allowances administration of our members. To other stories now, 9 lives and property worth over 15 million cedis have been lost to fires in the Ashanti region in the first half of the year. This despite a 20.4% decrease in total fire incident recorded within the same period last year. The fire service is, however, resolved in further reducing fire incidents to protect lives and property. Nana Ojima has more in the following report.
The Ashanti region recorded a drastic reduction in bush burning from 222 to 44 in the period under review. Fires in vehicles and institutions also recorded a marginal decrease. Domestic fires in the first half of this year, however, increased to 270 from last year's figure of 246. PRO for the service in the Ashanti region, DO3, Desmond Aka, explains the firefighting procedure in delivering on its mandate.
Out of the 622 that we have recorded this year, 435 were fires that before we even got to the scene, the public themselves have been able to extinguish. And that is a plus on our side, that even the effort that we have been putting in terms of reaching them with the message according to the fire safety is going down well. Just that some few recalcitrants are not adhering. That is why we are having these challenges, especially in our domestic setting. So with time, I know with a lot more effort, we'll be able to reduce it. We have set a target for ourselves to reduce fire and related incident by 60%. And so far, half year and still counting, we have done significantly 20% and more.
On Sunday, 2nd May this year, a 17-year-old died in the fire that ravaged part of Asafu Bibi slum near Kokobod building in Kumasi. On the 24th of the same month, 3 persons died in a fuel tanker explosion at Onyinanufu in the Ahafuano Southwest District. The driver of the fuel tanker and his assistant, as well as 2-year-old boy living in the community were burnt to death. Fire swept through some slums, including Dagomba Line, destroying property worth thousands of cedis. DO3 Desmond Aka explains measures to address fatalities and property loss being recorded.
As of June, we had lost about 9, as against the same period last year, 3. So it meaning that this time round, we are losing a lot more lives and a lot more properties to the fires that are occurring. It means that we have to change our strategies in terms of reaching out with our fire educational or safety messages, and for which we are much on course.
Kumasi Metropolis has 7 fire stations, with 2 of the tenders down. Despite logistical constraints, the service is targeting further reduction in fire cases, with focus on prevention and the training of the public in handling of fire. The service on 4 different occasions were threatened and prevented from accessing fire scenes, with the accusation of delays in responding to emergency calls. ACFO Henry Jiwa is pleading with the public to call the service promptly as the service adopts measures to address threats from the public.
We intend to mobilize the assemblymen, the imams, opinion leaders, and all that are involved as the zonal communities to explain our operational procedures to them, for them to also explain same to the community. So we organize a forum for all zonal communities, one after the other, and we'll explain to them. We also intend organizing a fire training and organized fire warden within those communities, so they can even start fighting the fires before we even get there.
Statistics from the Ghana National Fire Service shows over 6.9 million cedis more property was lost to fire in the first half of the year. For Joy News, Nanaya Ojima, Kumasi.
And you're watching Joy News Prime. We're taking a break. When we return, Charles has more business news for you.
Yeah, welcome to Business. Trade and Industry Minister Alan Chimantin has inaugurated a soybean export permits committee to stop illegal export, prevent shortages and check price hikes. Now, the move is expected actually to boost the local processing of fisheries and poultry industries. There is more in this report.
Data indicates that there has been a tremendous increase in the export of soybean from the country, and the competition for the crop as an export product has resulted in illegal export of the commodity. Mr. Chimantin said government's commitment to growing industry and other sectors culminated in the establishment of the committee to address the challenge.
Ghana is promoting a double-track industrial strategy, which is promoting competitive import substitution, but at the same time also promoting the development of exports. Imports and exports are 2 sides of the same coin. Both are important for our economy. But it is also critical that we do not restrict and constrain the development of industry.
Agric Minister Dr. Owusu Efiri-Akoto also said the move is timely and necessary to protect the agriculture sector.
People are, without permits, exporting the quantities that we are producing, to the extent that poultry farmers are complaining they are not getting the product for their feed, for their industry. Processors are also complaining that they are not getting enough soya beans to process. So then it means that we need to regulate the market. And what we have done is to go to Cabinet and to go to Parliament to get this legislation in place, which says that anybody who wants to export soya beans out of Ghana should come to this committee to get a permit before you can export.
The Export Permit Committee comprises of one representative from the Trade Ministry, the Agric Ministry, the Ghana Export Promotion Authority, the Customs Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority, Food and Drugs Authority, Poultry Farmers Association, and the soya bean producers.
And of course, that'll be it for business. We'll leave you with a summary of international business news this day.